Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Smith.
In Sarasota, kids. A couple of years ago, we shot the movie you're about to watch with the kids at the Ringling College of Art and Design. Yes, bitch, right there. Do we have any of the kids who made the movie with us here today?
I was behind the scenes.
You were behind the scenes? That counts, man. Everybody's part of the filmmaking process. It's a lovely community you have here. I haven't been here before, the theater, the first time, so this is really absolutely cool for me. I own a movie theater in New Jersey, humble brag. The movie theater I grew up going to and stuff. So I love when I get to go to a community theater like this that supports the arts. Kids, you're about to watch something that we did a couple of years ago. We shot some of it before I had a massive heart attack. Then I had a massive heart attack and we came back and we shot the rest of the movie. So I think Sarasota did it. I think that's the reason I had the heart attack. We had a wonderful time doing it, and what we're talking about doing now is continuing this program. We took a character, Killroy, that came from like World War I and World War II graffiti art, and kind of claimed him as our own, as a kind of a Michael Myers type character, who runs through all of our little horror vignettes that we did. So we put it together with the kids at Ringling, and it was just an absolute blast. And what we're talking about doing is coming back and doing another round of shorts. This time the students are getting younger. Is that true, Dave? We're going high school? High school and college, man. One day we hope to work with kindergartners. The age just keeps getting a little younger, but that's cool by me, man, because I'm an old-ass man, and being around young, vital artists just rubs off, man. Makes me feel like, oh, yeah, that's why I did this shit in the first place. So you're going to see the work of vital young artists, people who are happy to be there. Sometimes you get to a movie set, and I can't believe this is true, but in my experience, you'll have people who treat it like a fucking job, as if they weren't doing that, they'd be working at a food store, Publix or something like that. Anybody who treats it like a job, you know, that's your approach, and God bless. But for me, it's a party, man. Like, you're hosting a party for a bunch of people to come and make pretend. And that's something I've been pursuing most of my adult life, is making pretend. I was a kid, I used to make pretend with my friends. It made sense. It was good times. Didn't understand why that had to stop. The older you get, they start throwing responsibility at you. And I get it. I take care of people and shit. I've got a wife. I've got a kid. I've got dependents and whatnot. But at the same time, didn't mean I had to necessarily grow up. Didn't mean I had to stop making pretend. And I saw that people did this shit for a living. I don't know how they got to these jobs, but it's like, it happens. They can't all be born into it and stuff. And I discovered indie film on my 21st birthday. I saw Richard Linklater's film Slacker. And suddenly it was a clarion call for me. I describe it as viewing that movie with a mixture of awe and arrogance. Awe because I was like, I've never seen anything like this before. And arrogance because I was like, well, if this counts as a movie, fuck, I could make a movie. and that was Clerks. That was the first thing I ever tried doing and stuff. And it launched my career. And ever since then, I've been desperate to not go back to the quick stop, so to speak. Like, I was able to leave my job behind the counter and make pretend for a living. And that's something I've been pursuing ever since. So, LEC, when I was a kid, I used to make pretend. And then for a few years, I didn't, because I was in high school or whatever. Fuck, even there, I was in plays and shit. Then I went to work at Quick Stop for a Red Hot Minute, but then I made pretend there and made the movie and shit. So honestly, I'm 54. I'm going to be 55 in August. I have spent more of my life making pretend than I have living an actual existence. And let me tell you, it's fucking great. Everything I ever wanted it to be. So, I welcome anybody that wants to play in that field, man. That's what the arts is all about. It's about making pretend even beyond the age of reason that you're supposed to stop. Because making art requires what I've always thought of as a reasonable amount of unreasonability, because what you're doing is saying and trying to accomplish something most people won't, because most people are reasonable. Where you're like, oh, I want to make pretend, man. Like, this is weird. I wish I'd been a different artist in life. If I was a painter, I could take a blank canvas, throw some color on it, and you would understand my statement. You would see what I was trying to say. If I was a singer, I could open up my mouth, just let out a note, and you would feel the story I was trying to tell. But unfortunately, I chose filmmaking, which is one of the dumbest art forms on the planet, because because it's an art form where you're like, I need to self-express. Give me $20 million and Ben Affleck fast. But in doing so, in that chase, in the urgency for self-expression, man, that got me to the dance in the first place, and by dance I mean Sundance and stuff, has taken me all throughout 31 years of a career now. I stand here. Clerks happened 31 years ago, and we made it 32 years ago. So I stand as testimony to the fact that any idiot could fucking do this. I'm not going to say that you'll have the same results that I had and shit like that. Just like I didn't have the same results that others who went before me had. But I know me, and I know the kid who started this journey, man. He was a good kid, but he's a fucking idiot. He was skilled at nothing. But he got me this fucking far, man. That's just a long way of saying that, like, talent is a fucking illusion. Some people are born with it, and that's great. And if you're born with talent, God bless you. Seize it and exploit it for all you possibly can. But not everyone is born with talent. I was not born with talent. But just because I wasn't born talented doesn't mean I can't play. Like, look, we all love fucking, I'm a hockey fan, right? I'll never play professional hockey because I'm terrible at it and shit. But I love to play hockey. Just because I am playing pro don't mean I can't fucking play. Same thing with the arts, man. Yes, there are people that do it for a living and lots of money changes hands and it looks very polished and professional. But that don't mean you can't fucking play, kids. And the older you get, the more of a need there is to play. I'm not saying abandon all your responsibilities. I'm sure you're in charge of people in life and responsible for people. And thank the Lord you do that sort of thing. And I'm sure those people in your life who depend on you appreciate everything that you do for them. However, you're no good to anybody unless you're good to yourself first. And if you're sitting in there going, I've always wanted to try this. I've always been a storyteller. I've always fancied myself. And I've watched movies or TV my whole life and I always felt like I could do it. Guess what? You can fucking do it. The only difference between me and you is that I keep trying to do it and telling people I am this thing, trying to make them believe that I am that thing. That's it, man. It's just a game of chatter. Like my sister told me at one point when I was a kid, I said, I saw Slacker, Richard Linklater's film. She said, what you been up to? I said, I saw this movie and I think I want to be a filmmaker. And she goes, good, be a filmmaker. And I was like, yeah, that's what I said. I was like, I saw this movie and it makes me think that maybe I could be a filmmaker. She goes, good, be a filmmaker. And I was like, what fucking game is being played here? I'm trying to tell you that I want to be a filmmaker. She goes, yeah, well, then be a filmmaker. What I keep hearing is you talking about wanting to be. She's going, that ain't going to wash. She's going, be a filmmaker, Kevin. Like in everything you say and do and think going forward, think it, say it, be it. As a filmmaker, you're a filmmaker. You just haven't made your film yet. And it sounded like very Tony Robbins type bullshit to say. And he wasn't even around yet, so I couldn't even say that sounds like Tony Robbins bullshit. But I tried it because it was fucking free. So the next day I was like, it ain't gonna cost me anything. I'm just gonna proceed in thought as a filmmaker. Sometimes they say fake it until you make it. That's a different way of putting it. So I started thinking through the prism of I am the thing that I'm telling people that I want to be. Can't expect them to fucking believe it unless I believe it myself. And it sounds stupid as fuck, but goddamn it if it didn't work. I'm not going to say that was the difference and that's the solution and everybody will have the career I've had. Not at all. Every path is different. But that piece of advice, man, like think it, be it. You can't expect anyone to think you're that unless you think it first. Made all the fucking difference, man. So if you're out there and going like, I've always wanted to try this shit, and he seems like, fucking an idiot. If he did it, I can do it too. It's absolutely, I stand here as an example of that sort of thing. Just the way that in Arrogance, I saw Richard Linklater's movie and was like, fuck, I could do that. Hopefully you all watch what you're about to see, and trust me, you will after this movie be like, I could definitely do that shit. This ain't no Clerks, I'll be honest with you. But if you see something up there, kids, and it calls to you, and if you see something, you're like, I could have done that better. Guess what? You fucking can. Nobody's going to know unless you take a step toward art. I'm telling you right now, man, like if you take a step toward art, art will race up to you and lick your face like a fucking big old St. Bernard and shit. But it requires that you make the first move. Art's never going to show up at your door and be like, here I am to give you the life that you've always dreamed of. You got to pursue it. You got to take steps toward it and stuff. Doesn't require much, man. But those steps get you very close to something that you never imagined you could do for the rest of your life.